welcome to Talks with Don, episode 30, entitled Will You Answer the Call? As always, we're going to get started off with some libations for the ancestors. This is for the ones whose voices were heard. This is for the ones who wanted to step up to the call, whose voices weren't heard due to oppression. Ashe, 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 ashe. Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rising. As always, we're going to get started off with a song from yours truly, Donna Issa, entitled The Process, out now, available on all streaming platforms. Hand goes that water, sixes on level. You was attracted to ice on the bezel. The key to the door is that life's about levels. This is a tale about angels and devils. You got the gift, what's a lotus to pedal? God say protected, it's potent, it's special. A comforted gift, try to run with the gift. Inherently, you must be one with the gift. You cannot take this and code it through time. Perfection of craft must be molded like iron. Here you go, son, just hold it, it's mine. Deciphering from chosen and spiritual crime. Infinity stones and songs I came to collect. Sunshine is bright, but rain is so wet. To hear the calling, I had to be alone. The casualty of wrongs, the rarity of stones. Flawless, diamonds, sapphires, rubies. Sometimes it feels like a duty. Missing the signal can become spooky. Ashe. You never know the hour to be bestowed with the power. If you go through the fire, come on cleaner than a shower. 720's the time that I picked up their day past this test, get the crown. You gonna be great, don't be late. I won't be late. You were talking to someone that owns estates. This message inside is for you. Discover myself. I have to be myself as a youth. Protect what I had to call on recruit. Too many soldiers to fit in a coup. If you were never alone, I can't hear you calling. Dark night of the salvages of people's hands falling. The gift that we discuss, you can't touch it and see it. You must be careful of energy leeches. Learn to discern the finicky speeches. The ones that get it, get it. If you hit a still, motherfucker, just beat it. To be bestowed with the power. If you go through the fire, come on cleaning in the shower. You never know the hour to be bestowed with the power. If you go through the fire, come on cleaning in the shower. Break these chains, break these chains. Thank you to the pieces needed for character development. This is for the ancestors. I looked up at 635. 818, the key to the crown. Don Issa on the throne. Thank you to the pieces needed for character development. Ashe, long live a live. Let's get straight into it. The title of today's YouTube video: Will you answer the call? As we know, there's a lot going on energetically on Mother Earth right now, and the power is returning and being yielded to those who it rightfully belongs to, those who are of a certain frequency. And a lot of these people that are on this certain vibration and certain frequency in their childhoods or throughout this lifetime, they were labeled as black sheep of their family. And I can get honest on this video and say I and my twin brother were always labeled the black sheep of our family. But the tides are very much changing, and I'm going to tell you why that happens with people of a certain frequency, why they're labeled that of the family and treated such by their family members. Most of the time when you're on a certain frequency, the people in your family and people that are around you, they know from the time that you are brought into this dimension that you are a generational curse breaker. You are the one that would step up to the calling. And what happens during your childhood and your developmental stages, just as they know who you are, the enemy knows who you are. The disagreeable ones know who you are, and they do not want you to walk in full confidence, because once you reach full knowing of self, knowing your purpose, knowing your higher self, your oversoul, there's no stopping you. And you and people like you are here to raise the vibration of the collective and shatter all illusionary systems. So the people in your family, they know who you are before you come and when you step foot into this dimension. And what happens is they, along with the entities attached to them, because of jealous or nefarious reasons, want to break you down before you can even realize what your purpose is and realize the power that you yield on the inside. And a lot of times, once you start to walk in your purpose and discover who you are and that you're here to shatter all illusionary systems, sometimes they embrace you, but a lot of times they don't. And some of the reasons that they don't embrace you is because many people in your family, they were called and did not answer the calling. And they look at you, who's broken out of the black sheep mode, stepped into purpose and stepped into power, and they look at it and it's a mirror or a reflection of what they did not do. I'm going to, get 100% authentic with you all. I have many people in my family that have gifts. I feel like they were called to be people that could shift and raise the consciousness of the collective. But a lot of them did not step up to the calling and have given their lives over to a lower vibratory way of living. So when they look at you, it's a mirror of what they're not doing or what they could have been. And for a lot of people in these days, if you haven't made the choice to start living in a higher frequency and finding out who you are and walking in alignment, it's probably too late. But like I say, give you an example. The ones that are generational curse breakers, they're always the different ones in families and settings that they're in. I'll give you an example. The way that I think, I've always been someone that wasn't afraid to walk in knowing. And knowing comes with tapping in with the divine feminine within inside of you, using and connecting the two, left brain and right brain, connecting divine masculine and connecting divine feminine. And with that sense of inner knowing, you just know when the information that you're channeling or wherever you're processing it through, you know when it's correct. And in my life, I've had one family member. I've always been on a journey of knowledge and presenting knowledge to my family members. And back then, I've been on this wave really, probably really since started studying 2014. But before that, I was on things that were considered conspiracies. And fast forward into the age of Aquarius, the age that we're in right now, a lot of the things that I was saying back in 2009, people are seeing them come to fruition and be like, wow, what Amar was saying was true. What his twin brother was saying was true. And one of my family members, I give him kudos and I salute him because he had enough courage to tell me in conversation, man, a lot of the family members thought what y'all was talking about was foo-foo, but let me be the first one to tell y'all a lot of the things that y'all have said or were saying have come to pass to be true. And he gave it up to me. And that's one of the things or traits that people that step up to the calling have to walk into and carry with them a sense of knowing and not giving a flying F what other people think about you. Because when you have purpose, your life is going to be uncomfortable until you start to walk in that purpose. If you're somebody that has a calling on your life and you know it and you have gifts and you're not using those gifts and tapping into those gifts, get into the habit of not giving a flying F what other people think. Because there are many things that I can be doing and I don't because they don't fulfill my purpose. And coming from just living a good life, a life of leisure, nothing feels better and is more fulfilling than knowing you're walking in your purpose. I say to that. So, like I say, a lot of people on this certain frequency are here to raise the vibration of the collective and shatter illusionary systems. And with that being said, most people, they don't want anything to do with you unless it can benefit them. And a lot of times what happens with people that are called, once they get into the spotlight, those people that naysay them always come back and try to, man, that's my cousin. I seen it in my own life. I seen it in my twin brother's life. People don't support, but the moment you get spotlight and get accolades for what you're doing, they're the first ones to act like they've been there all along. And this is what people go through, unfortunately. But the gift of that and the lesson in that I think the universe, the Most High, the Great Mother, that they want to teach people is learn to use your discernment. Because as I'm learning, you can't change who tries to come into your energy, but you sure can change how you react to it. And a lot of times, you can't just pull away from people without them still trying to seek out your energy, because when you possess a divine energy, everybody wants a piece of that. So it's on you to use your discernment to know who you're around. And as I always say, you have to have your own practices on how to release negative energy when you're somebody that's sensitive to energy. So a lot of times, like I say, what happens in families is a lot of family members, they have those gifts, they ignore them, they become slaves to foreign systems, and unfortunately, they become that way until they transition. And I've always stuck by the knowing of my moral compass and knowing what I do is correct for me, my bloodline, my higher self, my oversoul. You know, been vegan since 2017. Was given adversity to it at a place of business that I worked at before I got my own business. Stuck by it. Didn't let anybody's idea of what they thought of me keep me from doing what was best for my higher self. Goes back into the saying, in order to walk in purpose, you have to get in the rhythm of not giving a flying F what other people think about you. Every place I was at, vocalized what I believed, stood by what I believed, had a moral compass of what I believed, and stuck by it. So if you're someone that's of a certain frequency and you feel like I'm supposed to be doing something different, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing, step into that. Step into that, because you're somebody here to raise the vibration of the collective and shatter illusionary systems. And unfortunately, a lot of people in these families that we are born into and placed around, they look at the ones that step up to the calling and are in the spotlight for answering the call, but they are not willing to do the things that those people that are in the spotlight or have stuck by their calling are willing to do. Give you an example. Not a lot of people are willing to disassociate with people or energies that they know are detrimental to who they are as a person, outside of the fear of being lonely. As I say in my song, The Process, if you are never alone, how can you hear your calling? And I'm not saying alone as you're always by yourself, because no man is an island, but I'm saying you have to, as a person that is sensitive to energy, take time to recalibrate your nervous system and shake off any energy that is not yours. A lot of times, people are dealing with people's projections being put onto them, and they don't even know it. We're not the thought, we're the observer. So as the observer, you know when it's your own thoughts. A lot of times, as the observer, you pick up on these thoughts, and if you're not careful, you can believe they're your own. But when you know your own energy, you know what thoughts are yours, and you know when someone is projecting onto you, the reward is always greater for striving to be the highest version of yourself. The ugly part of it is having to face yourself and face things that you have done that were not favorable to the highest frequency you could have been on. Everyone has that journey. And as I say on my Instagram, Vegan Chef Don the Issa, do not get stuck in the karmic loop. I empathize with people that have lower frequency childhoods, and I haven't experienced half of the things that most people have experienced in their childhoods. Most of y'all can pick up what I'm putting down, but I empathize with that. And something that has helped me get through life to shake off energy: don't become people's projections onto you. When somebody does or says something to you that's unfavorable to you and you don't like it, or they might be seeking to get an emotional rise out of you, something that will help you along the journey is something wrong with that person. It's nothing wrong with me. And I'm not saying that from a pompous or narcissistic standpoint, because we know when people are trying to get reactions out of us, pull energy from us. We know what's right and what's wrong, what's neutral. We all have a moral compass. So if you're somebody that has a calling, take those key points or take these few points from what I'm saying. One, be willing to do the uncomfortable things to go within and find out who you are as the highest version of yourself. And one of those is detaching from people that don't serve the highest version of yourself, that are doing low frequency things. Two, when somebody projects onto you, look at it as it's something wrong with them. It's not a reflection of you, or it's not a tarnish on your character. Three, a lot of your family members, they will look at you with resentment because they didn't use their gifts to serve their highest self. So take these points and take this wisdom. If you received anything, let me know, but I'm happy to share these vibrations and share my thoughts. Thank you. I give you gratitude. If you're listening, like, share, and subscribe. Don the Issa, The Process, available now on all platforms. Ashe to the ancestors. Gratitude.